And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This vlogcast started as a combination of a spite and a Streisand effect. And because I actually forgot, happy Pride and fuck cancer. The two are not mutually exclusive. Part of the reason for this show is also to follow up the old adage that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble, and you can find me pretty much everywhere under that name. Shujin. Hi. Good to be back with you. At the moment, only. Joining me from the left coast, Io Cloud. Good evening.
Hey, Pride. I'm nicely sunburnt from Pride. We went out. We had fun. Well, I went out. I had fun. I tootled around. I got lots of stickers, lots of pins. And I'm really impressed with this one group because they were handing out Narcan to anyone who wanted it. They also handed out a small little makeup kit. And it also had some jewelry in it. So I'm really happy right now because I got jewelry. My birthday's in a week and I got jewelry.
It's good for you.
Yeah. It was fun, and it's actually still going on. There's a Pride After Dark, which started at 9 p.m. And it's music and raving and all that fun stuff. But I decided I wanted to come home, put my feet up, and harass you.
Could do a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah.
So, as always, everybody, thank you for being able to be with us. If you'd like to join us as we're recording live, which is alternatively 0405 or 0505 UTC, because apparently North America can't straighten out what time zone it's in, feel free to join us, because we could always use a couple of extra voices. And if you do, you can be over there in the live chat. Which means Stephanie's there because Stephanie, it's always good to have you. Hi. Yeah, I was saying that for me, part of this week, it was like 12. Is that what it was? Sorry, 13C when I get up and get ready to go off to work. So I'm trying to figure out what do I wear? Because I'm looking at the weather reports and it's saying that it should get up to about 20, 21. No, 26C mid-afternoon later. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm glad I decided to freeze my kneecaps with shorts today. Manon, normally I don't wear shorts. I just don't. I don't like it. But you know what I hate worse than wearing shorts? Heat rash. For anybody that doesn't know what heat rash is, good. Let's keep it that way. You don't need to know.
This is where I say it's currently 18 Celsius and slowly going down a bit. And it was nice warm today. I'd actually would have to play with a few settings to figure out what the temperature was. It was between 15 and 24, so it's low of 15. And it's currently 18. I was having fun. I didn't even need my big thick jacket because the wind was warm and not chilled. There's this nasty wind that just comes through this area, and even in the middle of summer, people have to wear heavy jackets.
Yeah.
It's not because of sun protection, although that's part of it. It's that wind, because it whips through.
Yeah, that doesn't exactly help. Stephanie's also pointed out, layers, Shujin, rely on layers like me. That would be fine, except that that's how you keep the heat in up here in Buffalo, because, layers are all good. The only layers that I've got extra are this, the stuff that I bought so that when I was going to have a fursuit that I'd be able to make for myself, that, I'd have that nylon-y kind of wick away stuff. So I've got that skin tight stuff, which is all kinds of cool to wear, by the way. Don't get me wrong, but no, no, is what it is. I will.
At least you're not like the psychotic postal people that were around. I don't remember what cities they were in, but they were wearing shorts year round as a bet, and it went on for years.
Yeah, you're talking about the phys ed teachers that I used to have when I was
That
a
too.
kid. Yeah, I don't
No,
know
no,
what
no.
it is.
These were postal
No, I
workers. These
know.
were the guys that walked from A to B to C to D to D, delivering delivering postage, the mail,
No, I got it.
and they decided that they were going to have a competition. See who had to turn into long pants first.
They're a little nuts, but hey, so long as they don't have a trigger finger, that's fine. It's an old, probably a bad joke, but it is what it is. And Stephanie was also pointing out it's 8C now at 5:09 a.m. That's okay. That's okay. I mean, normally you're inside when it's single digits Celsius. That's good. Expected to reach 16 today. It's still okay. Tomorrow's headed into the 20s. Okay, now see we need to have a very long discussion with the nuclear day ball about that. But what are you going to do, right?
Oh, the nuclear day ball that's been having temper tantrums.
Okay, now are you talking about ours or are you talking about Beetlejuice? Because I'm waiting for that to go ahead and go boom.
Ours has been having temper tantrums. Apparently, there's a giant sunspot over half of it. Or
Half.
there was half.
It's news to me. I'm gonna have to look that one up later. And
I'll dig it out. I was looking at it. It's all about the solar flare activity from the last couple weeks. And apparently it was all coming from that big black spot.
no, that doesn't totally surprise me. For what it's worth, by the way, for those of you that might be at all interested in this kind of thing, when you have more solar activity, the stuff that's like jetting out of it, and we get more auroras at night, or as it starts to become night, turn on your AM radios. I know. Whoever listens to radio anymore, but seriously, get in your car, turn on the AM radio, and start tooling around a little bit and listen for the tuning. You will start to hear radio stations from many, many dozens, perhaps even hundreds of miles away. It is the coolest thing in the world. Where I live, in Buffalo, without it being like the weird solar cycles and whatnot, although it helps immensely, it is not at all unusual for me to be picking up just normally during the day, Toronto, around here in Buffalo, and the outlying areas, and into Niagara, the southern Ontario, because that's all local stuff. But at night, it's easy for me to pick up New York City, a good, let's call it 500 miles away. Radio stations from Boston, significantly more than that, Indiana. Yeah, you get the idea. It's the coolest thing. It's what's called skip. And there's reasons for it, and I'll just go ahead and I will say, as somebody who knows a little something about how radio comms work, it is the coolest thing in the world. It really, really is. And that's why shortwave radio works the way that it does. There's your education tip for the day.
As long as the auroras stay above Portland, we're fine. If we can start seeing them down here, yeah, turn off all the electronics.
Some of them, at least.
All the important electronics.
Yeah, there's that. Telegraph systems, bad. Telegraph systems will ignite themselves on fire. It's happened before. It can happen again. And Stephanie was also pointing out, I think it's about 5 billion years before it goes boom. No. That's our sun. Betelgeuse could be any day now. But that's a whole other thing we have no way of knowing just yet. We'll see.
Yeah, Beetlejuice.
I'm not going to say it again. If things work out the way that it should, oh God, what the hell was the name of the laser interferometer for gravity waves? I forget what the hell it was called. It will detect it first before we have visual confirmation. And that's going to be the coolest thing in the world. I mean, hell, they used it to identify spinning and consuming black holes. And they had the sound of what it made when they yoop. Oh, I love science sometimes. Anyway, how about we get things rolling? We'll see how long I last this time. And as some might have noticed, yes, I have been drinking. I have had my coffee, and I'm ready to go. We'll see how this works out. So at 5 minutes on the clock, your 5-minute freestyle is going to start right now. Vulcans. When I was a kid, I watched Star Trek in reruns. Now, where I grew up outside of New York City, it used to be played on, at the time, what was an independent television station, WPIX, New York. Unfortunately, PIX is no longer an independent. It's kind of hard to be an independent TV station anymore, just because of the way that everything gets gobbled up and, everybody's got to have their money, and Lord knows there's never enough of it to go around. But I remember one of the things that I was trying to do as a kid was learn how to tie my own shoes. Because, as a kid, you're trying. And, I had adult who tried to explain it to me and tried to walk me through it and kind of didn't exactly get it every time. And I was sitting on the stairs at home trying to tie my shoes. And I was getting more and more frustrated and more and more frustrated. And I finally just thought, let me just stop being emotional and just go with it. And some of that frustration, just most of it, the emotional part of it, just bled away. Just evaporated out of me. Now, I don't know how to describe it other than that, because that's kind of how it felt for me. And a good portion of that continued on with me for a lot of different things. I don't know how emotionally healthy that actually is. It might be. It might not. I don't know. But there are times when, if you change your perspective, you get a better idea as to how to deal with something. We, biological creatures that we are rife with emotional distractions, for lack of a better way of putting it. Vulcans have emotions, contrary to popular belief. They just have learned how to observe it, how to understand it, how to put it into its own perspective. Do they still show it? In their own way. I mean, hell, when Star Trek 3 happens and Spock's body comes back so that his katra can be put back into his body, his mind put back into his body, Sarek says, forgive me, my logic is, I forget exactly the terminology that he used, uncertain where my son is concerned, I believe was the line. It's because he loved him. He would do for his son. The son that he told, don't go into Starfleet. He told him no. And yeah, it was a, dumb TV series from, 20 years before. But the characterization was still valid. So, for me, I had a moment. I had a moment this past week, and some might know what it is, some don't, and some are a little bit closer to it than they'd really like to be. I yelled at somebody, and the context of it all isn't germane right now. But I had to really take a look at myself. I had to really, really, really dig deep down to just crowbar my psyche away from the emotions to understand what it was. Why did I have that emotional moment? And for the life of me, I couldn't believe that it was just something as petty as what it was. It was ego. So, if we could just stop that, that would probably help a lot of things. Or at the very least, try to dial it back a little bit. Sometimes there are slights. Sometimes there aren't. How do you tell the difference? You have to just kind of take a step back and look at the bigger picture. I'm glad I was able to. Because Lord knows, I don't want to be that guy. Now, for what it's worth, now that that's all out of the way, man, the week that I've had, I know that I ended the show early last week because I was dragged out. This week has not been real great for that, but you know what? I'm glad that I am far better this week. And I kind of got a little bit of an ego boo too, because we had a and I didn't tell you about this. We got a surprise inspection from the guy that's like in charge of all of the safety stuff, like the heady safety stuff, like the guy that comes around and goes, okay, well, let me see your eye wash station. When was the last time that you had it drained and refilled and put the new salinate the antibiotic stuff into the fluid so that it's all nice and good for the next 3 months? Just recently? Good. Okay, that's good. All the stuff on the hazmat wall, who takes care of that? That's good. That guy over there. Okay, cool. Let's just make sure that everything is right. Yeah, everything looks almost right. Could you fix this? I have to leave in a couple of hours. If you fix this before I have to leave, I could pass you on that. Yeah, I'll get right on that. But to my credit, it was something that I had asked about before, and we didn't know it was supposed to be changed the way that he wanted it. So he kind of gave me a little bit of a pass on that. But overall, after sweating bullets for a little bit, we did good. We passed. Skin of the teeth passed, but we passed. And remember, win is a win. Doesn't matter if it's 1 or 14 points. A win's a win.
And this is where I facepalm because of all the stores they go into, and I see fire hydrant stuff that hasn't been recertified in a year, 2 years, 3. OSHA.
Yeah.
Hello, OSHA. Or the fire exits blocked.
Could be worse. Could be chained.
That too.
But now we're starting to get into New York City schools and a movie with easy reader, and we don't need to go down that rabbit hole right now, do we?
Yep.
So how about we get everything rolling over here? So it'll be time for the horrible scopes. Those of you that know what your astrological sign is, cool. Those of you that don't, you can make it up as you go along. I don't really much care, but if you want to do it with a D12 and actually randomize it, you can order one from the nice guys over there at Heart of the Game Fredonia. They have decided that they like me enough that they're not going to send a cease and desist letter, arguing that they're getting a little bit more attention than bad attention, I guess. It's Heart of the Game Fredonia. Hail, hail, Fredonia. Home of the Blue Devil. Is the shop with the mimic in the window. Unless it's not there anymore. So we here at Horrible Scope Central, we've been bringing you all of the possible futures anyone could hope to live through or eternally, alternatively avoid. This week, we're answering some of the threes of questions that have been sent in to us. So in advance, thank you all for your queries. We hope to hear from you again in the near future. And as always, all of the sent in questions are read, but only some of them can be answered on the air. Aries, Grover M. from New York City writes, I hope you can help me. I'm trapped in a rent-controlled co-op in Brooklyn, and there's a fire that started in the building 2 flights down from me. It's thick black smoke and making it hard to see what I'm writing. I'm sorry if the email smells of smoke, but I wanted to get this out as soon as possible. Oh, it looks like the floor in the southeast corner's collapsed and all the framing is exposed and glowing red. Being that you'd mentioned that you had a keen interest in residential dwellings, I was hoping that you'd be able to help me with my burning home. I'm currently standing on the last 2 feet of flooring that seems to be stable and would appreciate your insights at your earliest convenience. It seems like that's where the letter ends. Well, Grover M. from Brooklyn, New York, we can let you know that since 1967, all rent-controlled buildings in your jurisdiction must have a fire sprinkler system installed and functional, thereby rendering them fireproof, as your real estate agent would have told you when you purchased your apartment. So you have nothing to worry about.
And Taurus. H.R.H. from Manitoba writes, thank you all for the help you've given me over the years. I'd like to know if you'd be willing to invest in a time travel opportunity I'm developing. With the scientific discovery of solid light, I've been able to put together a working time machine, allowing me to go back in time to invest money and collect the rewards. You'll have to supply your own weapon for protection and be inoculated for all diseases from 1975. Thank you for writing, Adam. However, since we didn't already meet in 1975, we're pretty sure your device won't work. Good luck in your future endeavors, though.
For Gemini, Adam H. from Manitoba, again, writes, I just returned from 10 years in the future. After you told me that the time machine wasn't going to work, I decided to test it out. And you're right. There was a miscalculation on my part that would have slid me forward in time, but not compensated for where the Earth would be. Seems an important part. But now that I have everything working correctly, I get to gloat. We'll be speaking again 10 years from now, just before I come back to now, and you'll finally give me the respect that I deserve. Well, Adam, the joke's on you. You see, now that we know how your future is supposed to happen, we'll be sure to take vows of silence for that year. And since we won't be able to talk with you, your past is now a temporal paradox.
Where's a DeLorean when I need one? Cancer Moonchild! Teach Uncle from San Francisco asked, Dear Horrible Scope Writers, I am desperately looking for my car keys and can't seem to find it. I took it off my keyring so it wouldn't break the keyhole in my car with the weight of it. Where is it and how can I keep from losing it again? Many thanks! Well, Junko, if you open your purse, you'll find it in the lower right-hand section, immediately under your lip balm. Everything small and thin ends up in that location. The best suggestion we have for you to never lose again is to grow out your nails and trim one into the shape of your car key. Thanks for asking, and happy motoring.
Perfectly viable strat. Leo, next up, we have someone calling themselves Blue in Metrocity, who asks, I just achieved my lifelong dream of becoming the mayor of my home city, but I don't know what to do now that I have it. Help. Well, Blue, is it? Have you considered abdicating the position? You achieved it once, you could do it again. And congratulations on the personal best, by the way.
Virgo, this next letter is from Dave from Cleveland, who asked us not to read his location on the air because he's afraid of someone identifying him through his question. Oh boy. Oopsies.
That one's on you.
Shush. Dave writes and says, I've started managing a boy band and now I don't know what to do. I can't stand their high-pitched voices. Nobody believes they're real. The biggest hit they had came out for Christmas and it gets played every year. I hate these little kids and I want my life back. What should I do? Dave, listen closely to us. Make them sing scream metal. It'll shred their voices, tank their career, and you'll be free of them once for all.
Might actually work. Libra, a young student from Heightstown, New Jersey writes to ask, I'm studying science in middle school and I'm having a problem understanding something. We all know that the Earth is effectively a ball in space, but that might mean there are people standing on it upside down. How is this even possible? Thanks for the help. Always good to hear from the young fans of the show. It turns out you've been led to misunderstand a fundamental truth about how the Earth operates. There aren't people standing on it upside down. They're falling off it constantly. Stay in school. Keep being curious about how the universe operates. You're the future.
I think I just melted my brain. Scorpio, Miles from Colorado. Miles from Colorado. Maybe he's actually in Nebraska? Or maybe Canada? Sorry. Miles from Colorado says, thank you for letting us know about the D12s you can get from Heart of the Game Fredonia. I bought my set, put them on display on the shelf, but they've gone missing. On the bright side, I now have 3 extra couches in my house. Don't be a mimic, don't be a mimic. Can you make any suggestions on where I can get new dice that won't just get up and walk away from me? Don't be a mimic, don't be a mimic, don't. You won't need to buy any more dice, Miles. Nope. And thanks for being a lifelong fan of the Horrible Scopes.
Sagittarius, this next letter comes from Dan, who is, quote, totally not in Equestria. And he writes, do you know any way to keep this stupid pink pony from trying to throw me a party every damned day? I'm borderline diabetic from all the frosting she keeps getting in my mouth. Well, Dan, the only way that we can suggest would be to swap her invitation book with a notebook from Jack Nalen. We're pretty sure it will stop all future party lists in quick order.
Capricorn. S. Hakatoro from Shibuya asks, Kuria Nanazuka? You think I would know how to say that after watching all the anime and Shogun lately? Anyway, I'm sorry, S, but as this is only a half-hour reading at best, we won't have the time to answer your question tonight. We do appreciate your patronage, however, and wish you nothing but the best. Additionally, you might want to have your left ring toe inspected for tiny puncture marks. You stepped on a piece of metal that punctures skin just enough to cause a bloodborne infection, which would explain the shoulder numbness you've been experiencing. Please let your next of kin know as well, just in case your physician is inept or you take too long to have it checked out.
Some of these are getting a little darker tonight. Okay. Aquarius. Ernest K. of Hollywood Hills, California asks, how many buffalo would it take to fill the Grand Canyon? Well, if you go by just the area and not the volume, it would take a little over 36 Buffalo, New Yorks to fill the Grand Canyon. Thanks for asking.
Buffalo, New York. Pisces. And finally, a letter from Nathan Berman and Grace Ethel Cecily Rosalie Allen. Gracie Allen? Nah. Who together write, Dear Horrible Scopes, what is your method for raising championship quality cats? Well, it's really quite simple. When the cats walk up to you, you simply reach down at their shoulders and pelvis and scoop them up. We're not sure what kind of competition gives out championships for raising cats, but we're pretty sure our method should work for you.
It should work. Those are your horrible scopes for this week. Remember, if you like what you got, I don't know what to say for that one, other than good on you. If you'd like something nicer or naughtier for yourself or someone else, you can always bribe me by asking, because vanity is a thing. Or if you'd like to literally bribe me with money, you can do that as well. Over at the coffee page, you can find it, coffee.com/Icarus the Lunar Guard. I'll have these posted at the end of the week. Tumblr, Facebook, Coffee, Discord, BlueSky, because Blue Skies are I don't know. I'm transported back to 1975 and Tim Curry, and I'm not gonna sing the song because nobody needs to hear me singing a song.
Yes, we do.
Not right now. Maybe later when I put some, eyeliner on and lipstick and that kind of thing.
Although somebody that we both know suggesting that I do a duet with you, I want to hurt them. I want to hurt them a lot. Starts with the letter R.
There are worse things to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's episode 537 on the docket runner. Let the popcorn hit the floor. Let the popcorn hit the floor. Let the popcorn hit the
popcorn hit the floor. Ah.
Okay, now see that's just, you can't do that, you see, because Discord just goes ahead and goes, and then there's nothing there. So
I'm sorry, I can't do the proper
I could.
I
could, but Discord doesn't like
it. Stupid Discord.
That's fair.
Well, it's named after John Delancey's character. And he plays essentially the same character in My Little Pony as he does in Star Trek. Cute. Discord is cute.
That's fair. That's fair. Some of the comic books, they actually did use the set of the Star Trek Next Generation Enterprise D bridge. And guess who was there as Q? I mean, as whatever.
Yeah, would not surprise me. We really should write this character, make it a lot like Q from Star Trek. Why don't we just ask John Delancey if he wants to be it? He won't. We can't get him. He's too big of a name. Well, we can try.
And they did.
Sure, I'll do it.
And then months and months and months later, after he'd forgotten about it, suddenly he's getting all these fan emails about this cartoon that he did that he couldn't remember what the hell, and he had to ask his wife about it, and she's just like, seriously? Do you not remember? Here, watch. It was great. It was great.
And then there was a fan that brought their own fan drawing of Discord and was asking John Delancey to sign it, and there was a part of it that looked like something. Never mind. It was a YouTube video I saw ages ago.
That's fair. And I will make sure that we have a couple of pictures to refer to later over in the show notes. So, the American political scene, as we know full well, for lack of a better term for it, is a shit show. Yeah. I can't think of anything that is more apt. So, what's happened most recently is exactly what we knew was going to have happen the internal struggle is becoming much more the external struggle. And it gets even worse. There's stuff that's going on between the Orange Menace, the X-Boy, which I don't ever want to call him an X-Man because I don't want to taint that.
Okay.
And there's also the small problem of how things have been going over there in Europe in the warfare with a much larger country and a much smaller country, where suddenly there's a lot more pain going on, and it's going towards the bigger country. And suddenly the Orange Menace is nowhere to be seen, oddly enough.
It's because he was stressing out about his new nickname, Taco.
Yes.
Poor little baby. You just want to cuddle him and love him and go, there. You deserve it.
I'm very glad that I have been given safety shoes from work, with the composite / steel-toed, stuff, because I would very much like to embed it toe first. I can't, but I'd like to, along with a lot of other people, I'm certain.
He vanished while all that was going on, and the pundits, not the regular news media, but the other ones, have been saying that it's probably because he's butthurt over Taco. So I'm calling him Taco from now on.
Yeah.
And then the bromance.
Well, let's handle the Taco part first.
I love Taco.
So the problem is with people who are very visible, who are very public, is that there then becomes a very large pool of creative juices because everybody's got an opinion. Some of those people with opinions are more creative than others. Some are more vicious than others. And every once in a while, the Venn diagram of those that are paying attention and those that are creative and those that are vicious coincide to bring us just mwah. In this case, something called Taco.
Trump always chickens out. Taco man.
Part of this has got to do with the whole tariff thing. Because as you might have heard, for whatever reason, the economist in chief, and I use economist not in scare quotes, but in the oft agreed upon satire lettering, where it's capital, lowercase. Look at. And on top of everything else, after having whatever supposed discussions with whichever supposed countries, because I do not believe a single word out of this person's face anymore. Ever. I think it's a fair bet. No reason to believe anything anymore. Gone ahead and saying we'll have the tariff at 100%, 1,200%. Oh, well, maybe we don't do that. You know what? Nicely done there, guy.
Well, like Stephanie has mentioned in the chat, this was from serious traders, not the general public. This was from people who play with money all day and try and make sure that other people get more money and all that. The Wall Street bros. And they called him Taco.
Like I said.
And that just,
the Venn diagram lands where it lands.
And some of the MAGAs have been going, you can't do that. That's mean.
You're right.
And
It is mean.
and the leftists are going, let's go taco. Let's go taco.
See, me personally, I'm listening to these people and I'm just like, I'm sorry. I believe the expression that you used to use was, let me see if I can say it with the correct gravitas. Fuck your feelings.
It's more like what comes around goes around. If you can't take it, why the hell are you dishing it? They have been using Let's Go Brandon since 2020 with regards to Joe Biden
Mm-hmm.
and using it as an insult. And now that there's an insult, a single word that is driving him up the wall,
Good.
we're not supposed to use it against the taco man? Taco, 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 taco.
Makes me wonder if Up the Wall is going to be leaving a brown stain as it goes up, kind of the same way that the red stain was there from throwing ketchup with his steak. I'm sure that he's one of the only reason why I grew up having like well overdone steak, not well done steak, overdone steak, is because my mom didn't know how to cook it, and it is what it is. It's fine. But yeah, just, no.
My mother didn't like hockey pucks when it came to her pork or beef steak,
Yeah, well,
or for that matter, her chicken wing or chicken breast, whatever. But
I wouldn't.
there's
I wouldn't mind some
finally
breast right about
something
now.
that is getting under his skin and making him go ballistic, and it's getting to him. And there's been repercussions. And one of them was the bromance.
Yep, and this is the other part that's kind of bringing us all to this, and it's not the final part of this whole topic either.
No.
The exchanges that are becoming known, not exactly public, but known, are about how almost physical altercations are happening between the Orange Menace and the ex-boy. Almost physical.
My son hit me in the eye because I told him that he could hit me in the eye. Yeah, right, Elon.
Mm-hmm. So, the same way that during the first administration for this dipshit, he had all these people who were only hiring the best people and then firing subsequently, I forget how many it was. Was it 5 different press secretaries in the first year, something like that? I can think of 3.
I don't know, but the current one has definitely aged a lot in just the last month.
Can't imagine how. Can't imagine why.
Having to cover his ass and hers and deflect, deny.
Yeah. And that's the piece about everything that drives us up a wall. Because we knew, and by we, I mean those of us who have actually paid any attention whatsoever to how things have played out. And I will admit, I'm not the best person when it comes to keeping track of all the news. I will admit it. I, A, don't have the time for it, and B, truth be told, it's painful in a way that I can't really describe other than it's painful to my heart. Not like No Illusions where I'm going to have a heart attack, although, I mean, who only knows? Suddenly it just kind of happens. Or, it just pains me because it's like, guys, just stop being assholes.
Chill. Take a chill pill.
Oh, if only. What does ketamine do to you?
I have no clue. I don't think I've had it unless it was under a doctor's supervision in the hospital.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. not going to worry about it right now. I'm sure we can find out later. But all of this stuff that's been coming out as far as to how these individuals have been not exactly dealing with each other nice. Like I said, those of us who are paying any attention to the news over the last 5 years would know leopards are going to eat the faces, because that's what they do.
Ketamine is a dissociative drug, which means it causes people to feel separated or detached from their body or physical environment. It is an anesthesia and used in acute pain and surgical, operative, and emergency care. Yeah. Why is Elon taking that?
Because he's actually a lizard man, and he's been integrating too much into the body, and he's trying to remind himself that he's two different pieces. He is a meat avatar and a lizard person. And remember, if you say things that are so incredibly, obviously satirical, nobody would actually take it seriously. You can get away with saying damn near anything.
I need to find a better link than that. John Hopkins works.
That's a good start. So,
the problem is, by calling him Lizardman, there's several authors who might take umbrage at it.
Oh, really? What a goddamn shame. Sorry, my glasses were falling off of my face. Let me put those back into place again. There we go. Got them. Works out good that way.
Funny man.
We're good. If there's one thing...
So the bromance exploded.
Yep.
The two of them had a true social dead bird fight. And other people were screenshotting and I was sitting there just eating the popcorn.
Yeah, part of the problem also is that it's exceptionally too easy to just get sucked into screenshots that look legit and could be legit, only to find out afterwards, oh, this really wasn't done. And I'm saying that from the standpoint of, I've had a couple of times where I was ready to go ahead and send stuff along for more people to see, and then it's like, I should really check that. I'm glad I didn't send that.
Well, there's one other thing. There's this big, beautiful bill that's bouncing around the houses right now.
Mother.
And the bromance is a perfect way to distract the public.
And therein lies the problem.
Yeah. So I figured that out on my own some, but when I think it was Under the Desk News, or maybe it was that other person that I've been listening to a lot lately. There she is. Parkrose Permaculture. She gives a lot of interesting insights as somebody that is rural, dealing with MAGA around her, and trying to keep people's spirits up, as well as making sure that they understand what actually is going on. I still prefer Under the Desk News. V is awesome. But the bromance kind of spiraling in like that. And apparently they've made nice. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Now, the problem is trying to look over this stuff and trying to decide what should be our target for attention. And this is a harder question than just, well, obviously, whatever's going on. To to use an expression from The Princess Bride, there is too much. Let me sum up. There simply is just too much. Mm-hmm. Now, we've talked about it many a time, how the 24-hour news cycle just drives everyone bananas. Mm-hmm. Is what it is. We get that. We understand that as well as almost anybody else. The problem then is, on top of that level of just oversaturation, all this other stuff is simply weaponized. And before anybody goes ahead and says, well, how can you weaponize this stuff? Allow me. Like Io just said, if you've got this collection of things happening, what about everything else? What is it?
It's a distraction.
What is it driving out of the headlines?
The big beautiful bill, the war in Ukraine, tariffs, ICE raids,
Border Patrol,
ICE protests against ICE raids,
humanitarian aid going nowhere and rotting,
abortion rights.
Women,
That's one woman's body that's still being used as an incubator.
one woman being tracked across state lines for something that she did that was legal in the state that she was in. People who are being not even deported, but are being arrested, processed without due course with their rights, and then shipped off to a third-party country that they have no affiliation to, just to fill somebody's prison system. There's so much stuff. And before anybody is just like, okay, sure, yeah, there's all that stuff, but I mean, really, is it really a thing? Yeah. Do you have any recollection of what happened on September 11th, 2001? Other than that?
Too much.
No, just other than that.
Nope.
I don't.
Shit hit the fan and
that was it. That was it.
I get re-traumatized every year, even though nothing actually happened to me, because of the days and days of 9/11 stuff.
Every once in a while, we receive some books or media or videos or something that has to do with it. And I have to brace myself every time. I have it in my memories of where I was, what I did, the people that were around me.
Me too.
Do I know anything else that was happening that day? Nope. I remember what I had to do at the office that I was at, that I had to very quickly record an outgoing message, put on the voice system, and turn off the phones. Everybody out. Were we a target where we were? No. No, not even close. Nowhere even close. And I don't even mean, physically, because, big difference between New York City and Buffalo. But no, didn't matter. So when we go ahead and we say so much of this stuff has just been building, forgive the expression, to this point, some of it, in retrospect, makes perfect sense. Would we have realized in 1980, when CNN started, that people would become just oversaturated with news? No, it was a great model. Because with the way that the world was starting to operate, you didn't have the usual AM PM drive. You didn't have the typical, three shifts a day thing. It was becoming much more a 24-hour work cycle. So, people could get their news whenever they needed it, whatever time of the day or night that was. And it made sense. Trouble is now, people are getting that in their off time, which doesn't help. Because then it's the same thing over and over and over. And it's poorly done news reporting. It's not even journalism. You want journalism, you got to go to the local stations. And even then, you got to be lucky to get somebody that actually knows what the hell they're doing. It's not like days gone by where you could just sit in the office and make phone calls and actually get people to talk to you and get a story. Don't work that easy anymore. So we've got these guys going at each other, almost literally at each other's throats at times, and virtually at each other's throats. If these screenshots are to be believed, and I'm saying that because I have not directly investigated the two that I'm going to reference. The one on Twitter, and I'm sorry, I'm going to continue to call it that, because if X is a variable, it can be replaced with anything. I'm replacing X, the variable, with the term Twitter. And if that's a problem for anybody, you can take it up with my lawyer. Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. There is an accusation referring to the current felon-in-chief being on a list. What list? Don't ask. Because we can't tell you. We could, but we would very easily run afoul of something on the automated system here on YouTube. So we're not going to directly say. We will say, however, supposedly, there is a list with a name, many names, many times over for that name. But what list? Should be easy enough to find. Is it true? We don't know. Was the post true? Again, it could be. And the problem is, I haven't investigated it to double check it as yet. I haven't cross-referenced it. It's an easy enough thing to do, sure, but it's didn't have the time to do it because I've had other things going on. Supposedly, in retribution on the old man's Twitter replacement service, supposedly, there is the suggestion that maybe, just maybe, what needs to have happen are some government contracts no longer going to various space agencies, or one in particular. Or, come to think of it, I think the number is 10 for that number. Roman numerals, I'm pretty sure the number is 10. Anyway, again, are those screenshots real? Inaccurate? Didn't get the chance to check. Don't know. Could be. That's the problem. That's the problem. It's too likely for it to be. And if it's not real, if one of them isn't real, they both aren't real, if it's been manufactured, it's jingly keys all over again. And too many of us get sucked up into that. And I will admit, to a certain degree, I am. To a certain degree. Am I immune to it? Hell no. But trying. And that's exactly what you were talking about, Io. That it's just all these different pieces, all these voices, all this screaming and yelling, all these videos, all these sound bites all over the place, and what in the hell are we actually supposed to pay attention to, right?
Stephanie's commenting about two of those that were illegally deported being returned. The problem is one of them, they are concocting a whole bunch of stories as to why he should be either jailed or redeported.
Yeah, that one I did hear
And
about.
I know nothing about the other one.
I
And while you were talking, I was doing a bit of digging. NBC News, LA Times are both reporting about the protests that are now possibly going to bring out the National Guard into LA.
This is going to become a lot more interesting.
Yes, Taco Man was the one who said that he was going to send the National Guard out. Newsom said, no, we don't need that. We don't need that.
Yep. Now, the reason why I said why it's going to become interesting is because the National Guards can be mobilized in domestic, on domestic soil for domestic emergencies, where the actual standing armies, meaning Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, that kind of thing, are not allowed to be mobilized on soil in the country for domestic duties. Now, I know. When has this scumbag ever decided to follow any actual rules? I know. But there are certain points to be considered. If the National Guards are given an order that is blatantly illegal, they are, even, never mind blatantly illegal, if they are given an illegal order by the commander-in-chief, it is, or by anyone superior, it is their obligation and their duty to refuse such order. Question's going to become,
But how many of them are MAGA who literally worship the man?
therein lies part of the rub.
And if they refuse an order from a superior, whether the order is legal or not, can they be court-martialed? Will they be court-martialed? But they're supposed to protect from all dangers, foreign and domestic. And I hate to say it, Taco's a domestic danger. MAGA is a domestic danger.
Yep. Would they end up being court-martialed? Very likely. Now, let's also remember, the term is someone going to be court-martialed has a lot of baggage behind it, some of which is incorrect. Being court-martialed is literally a matter of being brought before a tribunal and having your case tried in military court. Very similar to if you were arrested for something as a citizen and brought before a judge and a jury to argue your case whether you are guilty or not guilty. Reminding you, not innocent, not guilty. I know. I would very much like to say guilty or innocent too, but that's not the way that the legal framework works. Would they be court-martialed? Would they be brought up on charges for, let's say, insubordination? Sure. Entirely possible, entirely plausible. And they would have to, in order to not be convicted, they would have to show that the order that they were given was in violation of their duties, an illegal order. Harder to prove than one might think. Because you could have a series of completely legal orders, but the end product is something that is not legal. Now, the thing that I'm saying this is going to become interesting is if the National Guards refuse the federal control because the orders have been wrong, and they decide that they will revert back to the individual states for their control, which is how it's supposed to work. The individual states have their own, for each state, and they're controlled by the governor, and in times of crisis, they can be called up and federalized by the president because standing armies and such. If the orders that they are given from the federal level, from the commander-in-chief of the federal armies and navies and Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guards, if it's an illegal order, if they then say, we will not follow that order, or the subsequent two that you tried to send down to us because they are all illegal, we are reverting our control back to our state governor, who otherwise controls us. What then happens if the federal decides that they want to bring in the actual standing army to come in? Blatantly illegal, blatantly against the law, blatantly against how it's all supposed to operate. But like I said before, when the hell has this guy ever paid attention to anything that has to do with doing things the way it's supposed to be done and following the law? That's why I'm saying this is going to become interesting, because that's what I'm expecting to have happen. California is going to be a problem in very short order. I'm not looking forward to this. Don't get me wrong.
You're not wrong. If feces hits the circular impeller, I do have a full tank of gas, and I do have permission to head north. The problem is I'm terrified of the highways around here. Once we get past the mountain ridge that surrounds where we are, I'm fine to drive. But getting to that ridge, I would probably have to leave at like 2 a.m. when the traffic is basically empty.
I'll have to see about putting you in touch with some folks we know up Washington State way.
I have a emergency contact that if I need to, I can say, hey, I'm heading north.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I've been told if I do that, he'll be right behind me in his car.
Man, this is like playing out The Walking Dead right here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping it doesn't come to that. We're settled down here. We have a home. We have this. We have that.
Join the club. I'm in an
But
area, fortunately, where I don't really have to worry too much about anything because I'm out. I'm out the sticks. Just no reason to do anything to me. But folks who are in the urban areas, near the various borders, and I don't just mean the country borders, folks that are along coastlines, because there are ports, those that are near the state borders also might end up having things to worry about. Normally, interstate travel here in the United States is just it's a nothing. You just go because
mhm.
you just go. I mean, it's one big happy country, right? Your car doesn't have the same kind of safety features as every other state's. Or, oh, okay, you know what? We've got reciprocal agreements with every state. That's fine. You don't have a license plate on the front of your car. All right, fine. You're from Pennsylvania. Okay, whatever. Just don't get into an accident, okay? Don't care. And people don't remember sometimes that you can drive literal days across this country and still not get from one edge to the other. I mean, just get in your car, just start, and just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And
Same thing for Canada.
yeah, well, I
It's
mean,
about
it's one big continent. It's huge. It's freaking massive.
where I am. I'm safe. I am far enough away from any protests or any of this happening that I would actually have to travel to get anywhere near where the stuff is happening. And I'm not planning on going anywhere near.
No, but I have to
It's
imagine the news cycles are absolutely just deluged with this information, though, right?
I wouldn't know. I haven't turned on my TV in like 3 days. And the last time I turned it on was to watch something on the YouTube channels, the YouTube TV that I missed the night before. I don't watch the news. I get my news from short little blips that I can scroll through, decide if I actually want to read or listen to the longer version, and do that because I don't want to sit there. Because, like you said about 9/11, that 24-hour news cycle, I cannot do that anymore. I cannot sit there and listen and listen and listen and listen and listen. It's the little blurbs. I'd rather listen to a podcast from Canada called Quirks and Quarks about science, or the Y Files, and they're going into the really weird shit, or the history of everything. Listen to those podcasts instead of listening to even 10 minutes of the news. I think we turned it off for news about a week or so ago, and we watched about 5-10 minutes of it and turned it off. We can't do it anymore.
I get that. Totally get
And
that.
because I can't get any Canadian channels down here, all I get is the media from the United States news spinning bullshit that basically isn't telling me anything in a neutral way. One of the podcasters I listened to talked about ground news. So I'm thinking about trying that. But it's no, I don't want to listen to the news. I don't want to see the news. The only reason why I know about NBC and LA Times is because I specifically went and Googled LA, and then I hit the news tab, and the first couple things were about the protesters and the army getting called out, and never mind the stuff that I'm seeing on Reddit. And what I like about Reddit is if it's too much for me in one section, I can go to a different section. Ooh, let's go play with the crochet people. Let's go play with the knitting people. Ooh, let's go play with the Minecraft people. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what it was called. I think it was something like cats with unusual auras or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, cat videos, dog videos, it's always fun. Pets in general.
Icon has cheeseburger.
Sure.
That's a good site to go.
Sure.
On Reddit, in Facepalm, somebody says, I called it. Trump deploys National Guard after clashes in LA. And it's BBC News. Screenshot of BBC News. And, you know, I'd rather go wander into the WTF section of Reddit than go see some of the news stuff.
And that's fair.
You know,
that's fair. That's the problem, isn't it? Dalan has said on too damned many occasions, and sadly, I wish I could say that he was wrong. I'd love for him to have been wrong on this one. There's too little journalism and too much opinionation. And I admittedly, I am actually paraphrasing it, but not very hard.
That sounds right. The media is the message.
And
the medium is the message. And the last time I did the 24-hour news cycle was back with the stupid little sub.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah. And they knew it was over within the first, 3 to 4 hours of it going down?
Yeah.
They knew the exact second when it imploded. There's now footage showing that. And other media recently is that there was a fifth plane for 9/11. It's just, I don't need this. I don't need this. I want my happy little news reports about, the kids' lemonade stand making $20 and being really happy about it, or kids' school doing this project and getting top honors, and or the good news, the feel-good news stuff. That's probably why I love V with her Under the Desk News, because I believe it's Thursday where it's only good news that she gives out.
Cool. Stephanie's also pointed out, and rightly so, thank you, that if we're looking for short reports to, get bite-sized feelings for stuff, Midas Touch, Brian Taylor Cohen, good groups right there. They have been for a long time now. There are a number of them out there also, and at the moment, I do not have enough brain capacity to come up with some of them. The politics girl, I don't remember what her name is.
Mark Rose Permaculture is another good one. An opinionated person, but who his rants just start making me laugh, and that's probably the only reason why I go and listen to him.
I think there's somebody that I forget what name he goes by, like a progressive redneck or something like that.
No, it was the bartender,
angry
bartender, pissed off bartender. Yeah, pissed off bartender. He's where I got my nicknames, like Mango Mussolini, Pumpkin Spice Palpatine.
It's some good ones.
Oh yeah, he had some really good ones with his rants, and because of him doing his rants and explaining some of the stuff that's going on, his opinion of what's going on, and using those words instead of calling Taco by his name, I would laugh and I would enjoy the humor. But I can't do the 24-hour news cycle anymore because I sit there and I start to chew. And I start to chew. My fingernails. I remember the first time I did the 24-hour news cycle. It wasn't the Challenger explosion, but it was close. So a couple of years after that, there was a mine shaft in one of the maritime provinces that had an implosion in a cave-in. And in Canada, that went 24 hours for about a week. And my mother wouldn't turn off the damn channel. It just kept on going and kept on going. She had to watch every single minute of it and kept on going and kept on going. They were dead. By the time they got to them, they were dead. With the submarine, the Titan, that 24-hour news thing. Yeah, he's alive. They're still alive. We can hear pinging and stuff. Yeah. That was the damn sub pieces actually landing. I betcha. Or something hitting the side of the sub that was loose.
Yeah.
It's
the way it was explained is that in a faster instant than we can properly comprehend, the thing was simply crushed flat. No other way of describing it.
They were there. They weren't.
Yeah. To say it was the blink of an eye doesn't do justice. It's just one instant, next gone. Mm-hmm. Just not even a blink of an eye. There was literally no pain involved because there was no time. It was just gone. I wouldn't even snap my fingers because that in and of itself would have been too long. And there was no reason for it. It was just, oh, they're gone.
Hey, we're doing this news cycle. We can keep this up for days and days and days. Let's send out the Coast Guard. Let's send out all these ships to search for them. Yay, let's just send it out. Meanwhile, at the same time in Manitoba, there was First Nations groups freaking out and trying to get the police to do something about going to a landfill and seeing if they could find the bodies of 2 missing women. They knew that the women were in the landfill. No, we're going to spend millions and millions and millions on trying to rescue these dead billionaires. We know that they're dead, but we're still spending all that money instead of sending money to look for missing women.
Stephanie's pointed out something. A piece I didn't know about. Midas is now bigger than, quote, established media on the internet. They have a whole they have a whole spread of people under their umbrella. Damn. Good on them.
Mm-hmm.
I have to also qualify that with, I sincerely hope that they are quality people. I know that's splitting hairs.
I've seen a couple of them. A couple of guys are pretty good. I haven't seen enough of their little bits to give a valid opinion, but they've expanded, which is great. I mean, more opinions, more reporting from all over.
Yeah. Yeah. And
news media is no longer what it used to be.
No.
The news media now is actually scared of him because he could end their jobs in just one word.
Yeah, which is all kinds of bullshit. Stephanie following up, they are experts in their fields. Good. Thank you. And therein lies the problem. Well, yet again, another problem. I apologize. if the news media, if journalists, I'm going to keep using that expression very, very intentionally. If journalists do not have the ability, for whatever reason, to do the damned job of actually documenting history as it is unfolding in real time, then the future is screwed. I mean, sure, I could have used different words, but the point of journalism is to document history as it's happening. It's all well and good to, put together a book, a history book for kids to learn from later in middle school. All the things that end up happening, the War of 1812. Okay, why did it happen? Who was involved? Let's also remember that it wasn't Canadians, it was the British Empire's people. We don't have a problem with Canada. The Dominion of Canada is what it was called at the time, but it was still Britain. It wasn't Canada until the mid-1900s. It wasn't, quote, Canada as its own separate legal entity.
It was still the provinces of Canada.
Yeah.
Upper Canada, Lower Canada, East Canada, West Canada. Basically Ontario and Quebec plus the Maritimes.
Yeah.
But it was still Canada. Yeah, part of Britain. Yeah, colonies. But we were Canadian even then.
Sure. You guys enjoy eating beaver. Perfectly understandable. I get behind that. That kind of doesn't exactly jibe with that, but whatever.
I'm being good. I'm being good. I'm being good. I'm being good. My beaver comment that comes out when somebody says something about beavers in Canada, especially when they're American, I'm going to shut up.
Well, I mean, beavers are effectively fish, so it doesn't really much matter. Whatever. We can discuss that part with the whole thing about Catholics later. That's a whole other thing for later. Where I'm getting to is, if you don't have documentation in the moment, stuff that's reported on and corroborated across multiple different disparate organizations and disciplines and outlets, how can you turn around years, maybe even months later, and look back and go, yeah, this was a real thing, or no, this really wasn't a thing? Can something that really happened be shortly thereafter just looked back on and said, that's not a real thing? Yeah. How many people still believe and believed it only a couple of months after the event happened that Elvis is still alive? Or at the very least was. Only a handful of months after his death were there people who refused to believe the truth of the matter, that the man was stone cold. Well, room temperature cold.
What's funny is there was a preacher last year about this time that supposedly is Elvis at 80, 90, whatever. And the voice is really close, especially when he sings. But, the man probably needed, if this is Elvis, the man probably needed to get away from the limelight because it was too much for him. Because it does. The problem with fame is that it kills.
Yeah. But we know full well that John Belushi's well dead. Jim Morrison, well dead. Carol Carpenter, very well dead. Mama Cass, ditto. As much as we would like to deny it, Betty White, although I will absolutely defend to the death that she graduated to 100 years old, whether the calendar says, yeah, whether the calendar says otherwise or not. Screw that. She is an honorary 100-year-older. She deserved that one.
Because of leap years, she's definitely she made it to 100 by about 20 days.
Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. Who cares? People just don't want to believe reality. And it isn't a matter necessarily of the 24-hour cycle. Like I said, when Elvis died, there was no 24-hour news cycle. Not that point. It was still a handful of years away. But still, people didn't want to believe it. So they built an entire cult following. What are you going to do? Until you're blue in the face. People who want to believe that the earth is flat again, for whatever reason, and really believe it. What are you going to do? Talk until you're blue in the face. Okay. Only so much you can do. People who don't want to believe in gravity. At least with the people who are Pastafarians, they know that it's just a thing. It's just for fun. The people who believe that birds aren't real, it's for fun. They know it. They're not taking it.
They might know it. They might know it, but depending on how well they sell it, other people might actually believe what they've just been sold. Gotta love snake oil salesmen.
There's some people who almost believe that the Flintstones is a documentary, is a real-time thing. When we've complained that public education in this country was whittled away and whittled away and whittled away for the entirety of our lifetimes, and what possible harm could come from, trimming out the excesses and reducing waste and becoming more efficient with, this is it. All the times when our parents, or maybe even grandparents, were the ones who said, be careful of whatever it was. Be aware of stranger danger. Watch out for stuff in the shadows. Be aware for when these things happen. And keep yourself protected. Know what's going on around you. And these, I'm trying to be good, these people have completely forgotten all of the worries, all of the fear, all of the investigate everything going on so that you're not caught up, so you're not scammed. What demographic is one that most often gets hit with these computer scams and have to be protected from their own selves because, well, Microsoft wants to be paid for the service of fixing up my computer remotely, even though I don't have a Microsoft Windows compatible computer, and they want $300 in Google money? Sure, yeah, that checks out. I know I don't speak Italian Sign Language, but anybody that understands Italian Sign Language knows well what I'm saying. Just I want to say why, but I know why. It's because they got taught that what they had was good enough forever. And they are woefully inadequate. They are poorly trained for the 21st century, which started in the 90s. I don't even know anymore, you know? What do we do? What do we do with these people? Is there even anything to be done? Lexa, by the way, getting back over here. Hi, good to see you. And yes, pointing it out. Saying, quote, and it will only get worse as AI gets more convincing and further weaponized, both to manufacture content and put doubt to the, quote, I'll believe it when I see it, of footage and pictures.
Oh, like the wonderful pictures of the Taco Man rescuing children from the floods.
Or devouring on feet.
Or him being portrayed as the Pope. Yeah. I know what I'm doing next Saturday. I'm going to be watching Pope Leo. I'm not Christian. I'm not Catholic. I'm going to be watching Pope Leo specifically because I'm not going to have anything to do with that farce that's going to be happening in DC.
There is also supposed to be a counter for that. Let me double check.
Yeah, the counter is Pope Leo, and there's other stuff. You apply to get tickets to go to the farce. One of the things that I've heard is that if there's enough money for that farce, there's more than enough money for Medicare and Medicaid and SSI and SDI or SSDI, whatever.
There it is. No kings.
Yes, that too. There are those protests, but because of my health, because of transportation issues, unless there's one in my city that I can get to, I am staying home.
No, perfectly understandable. And I am putting the listing for it over in the show notes, which is nokings.org. And yes, there is one that's going to be happening in the Buffalo area.
Let me see what I can find.
Yep, they do have a search system. And, ooh, how interesting. I just pulled up my my little section of the world, and it turns out that there are going to be several in southern Ontario as well.
Yep.
One in London, one in Toronto, 3 currently in Buffalo, it would appear.
Ooh.
Yeah, in different neighborhoods. Oh, and it would appear that 2 of them will be happening not in Buffalo, but down where the kid graduated from college. Well, now, that's impressive.
There's one city over from where I am at that I could attend. I would have to drive.
That's fair.
I would have to drive. I would have to bring my walker or cane at least. And sit most of the time. Yeah, I don't have the physical capability to do stuff that I want to do. And I might be exhausted because we're going to the House of Mouse 2 days before.
I'm looking up information about some of these protest locations, and I'm looking back in my old hometowns down over there on the Isle of Long, outside of New York. Apparently, there is supposed to be one that's going to be happening, quote unquote, offshore, if you will, in New Shoreham. Oh, which is actually Rhode Island. That little place is Rhode Island, huh? You know what? Fine, give it a Rhode Island. I mean, they could use it. That's fine.
Actually, I could probably
Wow,
scoot
this
it.
is
I could probably scooter there. And if once I get there, as long as I stay parked and turn off my engine, I'm fine.
I am really impressed. I wish there was an easy way for me to show you all what is going on with all of this. I don't have an easy way of just putting my my web page on the screen for y'all. But holy smoke! Again, if you pull it up to take a look for yourself, wow, there are a couple of them that are scheduled in Mexico as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's no kings all over the world. In fact,
Alaska's got a number of them.
Yeah, there's no kings in a lot of the European countries. One of the African countries. Of course, places that don't have protests are stuff like Russia,
Well,
China.
yeah. I'm trying to remember where a certain person that we know lives up there, Alaska ways. There it is.
Yeah.
Found it. Found it. Took me a second. There is a protest that's going to be not very far away from them.
There's
Not
going
very
to be a
far at all.
protest. There's going to be a protest in Vancouver. Where is it going to be at? Consulate General of the United States. Yeah, that works. Downtown Vancouver.
I'm pretty sure that one's going to be hosted by the people and not the staff. Pretty sure.
That's going to be Vancouverites. That's downtown Vancouver itself. I was there once when I was 18, 19. And yeah, I know exactly where that is. And they're going to be having fun. Oh, the Vancouver police are going to be having fun because, of course, it's the Vancouver police, not the RCMP. Although the RCMP can be called in. And they probably will be called in. They're probably looking at this and going, oh.
Over in the British Isles, Dublin, Ireland, no kings. London, England, no tyrants. And Edinburgh, tyrant takedown. The Consulate General of the United States, Edinburgh. Dublin.
No dictators. Malmo, Sweden.
U.S. Embassy, Dublin. London. U.S. Embassy, Greater London.
No kings, Paris. Place de Bastilles. Not that I know where that is. In Paris.
Pretty sure most people who are familiar will be able to figure it. Italy. Good Christ, there is one in Italy. No kings, expats in Florence. Hot
no kings.
Damn.
No kings in Marseille. No kings in Montpellier, France. Ah, God, I love it when my French accent comes out when I don't want it to. No kings lie in France. Lyon, France. No dictators. Day of Defiance in Barcelona, Spain.
I'm sad to
Okay.
see that there isn't one going to be happening in Japan, but at the same time, okay.
Japan doesn't really do protests that much,
No,
from what I understand.
but how about Oceania?
Nothing in Australia.
Nothing in Australia so far.
Yeah, there's still a couple days.
And I don't see anything in New Zealand. Be that as it may, you know,
No kings, Lilongwe. I don't know which country that's in. It looks like Malawi, but I could be wrong. It's one of the African countries. Something that I don't recognize. It's near Mozambique and Zambia and Zimbabwe, that area.
I should have
There's
checked ahead of time. I didn't. There are at least 2 scheduled for Puerto Rico. I'll be damned.
Of course.
What about the South
Oh,
Pole?
what about Guam?
South Pole.
Nothing in Guam. South Pole.
I'm looking to see Antarctica. I don't see anything in Antarctica. Damn it.
No, there's nothing in.
Well,
Let's-
considering that it's supposed to be the scientific research stations, yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
There's a bunch in Hawaii.
Yeah, I just saw that. Damn.
No kings, Nahalehu, Hawaii. No kings, Kalawea, Kona. I'm probably just butchering the names. I'm so sorry, Hawaiians. Please forgive me. No kings, North Hawaii. No kings, Kaʻōhelelani. No kings, no American kings, Honolulu. Now, if you know from your history books,
And I do.
I'm wondering who would be king or queen of Hawaii now if it hadn't been taken over.
Ooh. That would make for an interesting. You know what? I'm going to do something I normally don't do. I'm going to some of you might not appreciate this, and I'm sorry. I'm not trying to give you guys vertigo or nothing. I'm going to grab my webcam and turn it around to show you guys what my screen looks like right at the moment. Simply because I don't know how to get the screen as like its own display on OBS right now. So for those of you that don't want to be looking at this all, sorry. Okay, here we go. You're gonna come with me. There we go.
Yeah, look at all those protests.
That is the United States, the bottom of Canada, and here, let me do this. Okay, the United States from left coast, and I know it's all backwards, I'm sorry. From Washington State all the way out to Maine, down to Florida, across the top of Mexico to the bottom of California, and up the coast again. Is a lot of stuff. And all through the eastern half of the United States, it is just chock full. It does peter off in the central area and
That's
out,
because there isn't that many people.
and ditto over here, all the way over where the where Nevada is, because most of that is just empty dust. But where there is population, my God, the fact that Florida over here has got so many protests? Zoom this.
Her name is Princess Owana Kaʻōhelelani. Sorry, I butchered the name. I apologize. I apologize. I do not speak Hawaiian. I'm trying to be respectful. She is Her Royal Highness the Princess Owana. She would be the Queen of Hawaii if Hawaii seceded.
As far as I'm concerned, it should still be, even ceremonially, it should still be a position of authority.
From what I'm seeing on the website, it is. I linked it in the show notes.
Good. So, yeah, nokings.org. It is linked in the show notes. Sorry, it will be linked in the show notes. It is in our Discord for putting the show notes in. We will get to that.
International law based on natural law provides that the most lawful claim to the throne or the head of the royal house can continue the royal prerogatives. Jura regalia, her dynastic rights as de jure, the legitimate right of the sovereign possessing fons honorum, giving her the right to maintain royal titles, and the right to appoint royal titles and honors even under a deposed kingdom. She looks beautiful and smart and cunning. Like, yeah.
Cool.
Hawaii's, that one protest that I spotted, the No American Kings. Yeah, I would like to see Hawaii secede. Just because their king and the last queen were both overthrown illegally. It's known.
The conversation going on over in the chat at the moment is kind of interesting, and I'm gonna get through this really quickly because we gotta see about closing up shop. Kind of backstepping just a little bit. Stephanie had pointed out, were you aware that the whole flat Earth thing was invented at the start of the 19th century by someone who was trying to denigrate the Middle Ages? I do now. The fact that it's come back in the 21st, however, is just appalling.
I can understand why flat earthers want to believe the Earth is flat, because they look out to the horizon and that's all that they can see. No matter where they're standing, they look out to the horizon, that's all that they can see. And the Earth is therefore flat beneath them.
And that's why I love the people
who...
And that's why I love the people who take basketballs and have these really, really, really great camera lenses that zoom all the way down to it. And they're just like, so where's the curve on this? Following up from there, trying to get all the pieces over here. Lexa had said, as one person I followed a post, a quote news story generated to demonstrate the danger, meaning of AI generation. Fake reports saying a certain author on a yacht drowned after their yacht was hit by orcas. I mean, very much like to believe that the orcas were actually doing quote unquote God's work, but you know, only so much we can hope for. Stephanie pointed out, how about some AI generated stuff suggesting the felon has died? If you cannot beat them, join them and subvert. Lexa commenting, that's tricky. Genie somewhat out of the bottle. Pausing here for just a second. Genie's well out of the bottle. Not arguing with you. It's just, yeah. Continuing, and lots of ethical reasons not to use it. But I do worry, absent control/warnings on generated content, people who have no qualms will use it regardless. True. All too true.
The thing about Taco being deceased is that there was about 2 days where there wasn't a word from him. He just shut up for 2 days. And people were actually starting to believe that maybe he had a heart attack or something and he was dead. Who was running the country?
Part of that,
Unfortunately,
well, before you go on, part of that also coincided with Ukraine making
mhm,
some really, really strong explosions happen in Russian space. So,
Slava Ukraine.
so there was some concern, shall we say, that perhaps the poor boy was hiding in his bunker so that he couldn't be contacted by his puppet master.
Probably.
Just saying.
And unlike every single other president, he only works 9 to 5, Monday to Friday.
Not even. Not
Yeah.
even. By the by, has anybody seen the First Lady in, I don't know, since, let me check my watch here, January?
She was seen about a month ago.
A month.
He had to he had to do something,
So he
and she
has
had to
her
be
come
there.
out kind of like putting on your good jewelry when you go to church. Good.
Well, according to this one TikToker who calls her the Donnie Mommy because she's his dominatrix. That's the theory.
Possible.
Gotta love that lady. Don Don, good old Taco Man, can't afford her rates. 250,000 per appearance with him. And she shows no signs of love, no signs of caring, no signs of any physical attractiveness to him. Ooh, yeah, I remember when she last appeared, for sure. Pope Francis's funeral. So that was about a month ago.
Is that the one where the photographer was doing some creative cropping with the columns, and some of the other presidents were there? I think the right item.
Maybe, I'm not sure. I do know that he was wearing blue and he was supposed to be wearing black.
I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
Although other people were also wearing dark blue, but he wasn't wearing dark enough blue.
Well, after a certain amount of time, the I don't know. I don't know. I
And
don't know about
and other reports is that he's stinky and
that's
has to sit on. Yeah, and
that's
people.
been for a long time, but
Mhm. But yeah, I'll try and find the TikToker probably in the next 24 hours so you can add her to the show notes. Every time Melania's seen, she does a quick little analysis about the stuff that's going on, and she's got to be his dominatrix.
it's got to be something.
She's gotta.
Or she's got him by the balls some other way. Don't know. And you know
Yeah.
what? If it's consensual between them, I have no idea how that could possibly be. But we will not kink shame here. We will, however, say we're judging you for being an asshole.
Yep.
Because that's really about as good as it gets. We need to close up shop. Do you have anything that you want to end up closing off with for topic wise?
The people of LA keep safe. Gavin Newsom. A lot of people call him Gavin Newscum. Gavin Newsom, stand up to Taco. Keep standing up to Taco. Don't let the National Guard in. LA is supposed to be a sanctuary city. ICE is not supposed to be doing what they're doing. the city I'm in is supposed to be a sanctuary city as well. I'm now very concerned for people around me as well as my own safety. And you gotta wonder, if it's so legal for them to do what they're doing, why are they wearing masks and hiding their identification? And if it gets to the point where people are used to seeing people kidnapped from the streets, who says that others aren't going to be imitating ICE, using the same costuming, the same type of flak jackets, because those can be bought at military surplus and other places? Who says that that stuff isn't going to happen and people are just going to disappear completely? Not just disappear into ICE detainment, I mean disappear completely and permanently. We cannot let random people get grabbed by assholes in black that can't even be bothered to show their faces. We can't allow this to be normalized. And Lex is saying that there's been reports of it already happening. It's the ICE agents that caused all this in LA. They decided to go after people, and the public said no. The public said no. And we have to keep on saying no.
There is... Great, now I have to look this up. I'm trying to remember what the... I forget what the quote is. Which means I'm not going to remember who to attribute it to. I'm not going to remember exactly what it is. Violence is the voice of the downtrodden. I don't remember if that was Dr. King. Might have been. I might be getting it incorrect. But I know overall that is effectively what the quote is that I'm looking for. The thing about this country is that we have this tenuous relationship through our history, short that it might be, between violence and following the law like gentlemen, if you will. Being civilized. We're supposed to accept when things don't go our way because it's been agreed upon. It is the social agreement between peoples that the law is the law. The law is the rule. And you follow the rules, even if it hurts, even if it makes you angry. Because it's fair. It's been decided upon as being fair. Now, when you have groups who refuse to acknowledge that, where do you go? Well, if you follow the rules, to borrow an expression, you take them to court. You sue them. You get a body to say, you know what, you're right. What these guys are doing, that's not within the rules. You need to stop doing that. And now we have groups who at that point are just saying, so what? Don't care. Oh, you're gonna hold me in contempt of court and have me arrested by who? We're the ones that would be doing the arresting, and we don't acknowledge your ability to do that. Piss off. what do you do? At one time, American people, if they found something egregiously illegal or wrong or against the public good or against the public will, it was not unknown for them to rip apart politicians' houses board by board and ignite it and burn it to the ground. Am I advocating for that? No. No. As much as I would like to go with the whole violence is never the answer, asking nicely never gave people their rights. There was pain, there was suffering, there was blood for every step forward that had to be done. Am I saying that bloodshed is inevitable? No. Is it liable to happen? Unquestionably. The question is how much, when, and where. It will happen again. I don't want it to, but it will. Because unfortunately, people have a short memory. And there are even some who just don't even believe the people that they have ideological differences with, never mind skin tone with, or language with, are even human themselves. Do your best to protect yourself, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally. Don't give up your spark. Do your best. It's tough on me. I have to imagine it's tough on everybody else. And we'll keep trying to do our best to help you have somewhere to offload some of that. Because we're all in this together. We're in this together. And before I completely finish that off, because that is where I was going to end, as a reminder, it is Pride Month right now. If the people who you are biologically related to do not feel like your family anymore for any reason, we're your family now. Get your sleep, drink your water, take your meds. We're your family now. Family of choice is good. We're going to call it there. Thank you, everyone, for being with us. Of course, as always, we hope that you found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives and you got something to think about for the week ahead. Stephanie, Lexa, thank you guys for being there. We really do appreciate it. You guys keep coming up with pieces that don't exactly fall through the cracks for us, but maybe we didn't even think about it in the moment. So thank you for being able to do that. Io, I know it was just the two of us, but thank you. And for earlier, thank you.
Me?
Yeah.
I hope I gave you a little laugh with the second comment that I made in the host chat.
I didn't take a look over it there. I should probably do that, shouldn't I?
It might make you laugh.
That's fair. Once upon a time ago, there was a tariff on that too, if I remember right. But that's a whole other thing.
There's actually a bunch of commercials in Canada about an American going up to a Canadian and commenting about their attacked beaver, and they do actually get attacked by a beaver. An actual beaver. Well, stuffed beaver, but still.
That's fair.
Stay safe out there.
And as always, thank you again for being with us. If you'd like to be in touch with us, again, arguably the best ways are going to be over on Discord. The link is in the show notes for that. Or if you want to get us over on BlueSky or on Facebook, I know, it's just there as a legacy item. There's very little that I do posting-wise over there other than show announcements and the occasional text thing personally. I refuse to post any images over there of pictures that I have done because I refuse to feed their AI beast any more than with the stuff that has already been uploaded. I will not do that. But you can ask me about that another time. Other than that, I will be continuing to do my DJ stuff over in Second Life. So if you want to find out a little bit more about that, of course, my personal information is out there on BlueSky, Shujin Tribble, and I've been picked up for the Second Life birthday shows. So I will be doing a big morning cartoon spree again. So
When are you doing it? Because I'm trying to make sure that I'm part of your staff.
I, best of my recollection, am going to be doing that on the 28th, I believe is what it is. I can't pull it up right now because I don't have the profile open to see it. But it should be on the 28th, which would be at 8 a.m. Second Life time, which is 8 a.m. Pacific time, means 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time, and later in the afternoon UTC, obviously, at that point.
Mine is the Tuesday of that week at 10 p.m. on the adult stage. I get to cut loose.
That's fine.
Every single other Second Life birthday that I've performed at, I've had to censor my song selection.
Should prove to be interesting. So we'll make sure that you guys know about them. Notices will go out into various areas to let you know so that we can have fun together. Other than that, just thank you for being with us. And we'll keep putting up the good fight best we can. So, as always, until the next time we're together, I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. And my girl, my lady, it's been 20 years, Fuj. Who would have ever thought? And I am still in love. Matane Fujin. I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till the next time we're together, everyone. As always, good night.